Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. Today, I want to talk about keeping a magical balance and what that means. So, this is the holidays, as we all know. It's December, and there's a lot going on for a lot of us. Even if we don't do big family type things, or we don't have a bunch of kids, or we don't have any children at all, there's still an expectation of gift giving or receiving and things like that. Even if it's at work, even if you're choosing not to really do much of a celebration, there still is, there might be some sort of thing at work or a potluck where you're participating in this giving and exchanging, receiving, and all that sort of stuff, right? Okay. So while doing magic, especially this month, going in, December, I think it's very important that we sort of stay balanced spiritually, magically, if you will. So here's basically my ideas on how to do so. So the first thing is giving. So for me, when I give gifts, when I give them, and I give them, out of the kindness of my heart, whether it's to my children, my family, friends, whatever, I feel good. I get a buzz. I feel great whenever I give. It's to the point now, the older I get, that I almost enjoy giving more than I like receiving. I mean, of course, I still want gifts. Don't stop giving me things, people. But anyway, I don't know. I enjoy having gifts, but at the same time, I also the feeling I get from giving a gift is really awesome. It's you start vibrating higher, and it's a feeling of joy. So I like that, and I think that's great to be in that space, to be on that frequency. And typically, we're not just doing it on December 25th or December 21st if you're celebrating Yule, the winter solstice. No, we're also, it's throughout the month, the Salvation Army or whatever charity is going on, because it doesn't have to be them. I know they have some stuff with them. But, we're giving to charities. Like I said, potluck lunches at work. Just doing little extra kind things, because it just feels right to do so this month. And I know it's all contrived because we should be doing that, year round, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? It's okay if you are feeling compelled to do so now, then do it. No judgment. If this, just, try to keep being giving as, the rest of the months go by. But for now, it's okay. No one's judging you. Please give. And once you do, revel in that joy. Let that just kind of fill you up, because it's great to do your workings right now. This is a great time to do it because you're on that vibration. Also, when you're trying to manifest things into your life, you need to be in a place or frequency of joy, of happiness, of graciousness and thankfulness. That's how you get things. You don't want to be in a place of desperation, which I'll get to in a moment. The other thing is to keep your magical balance outside of giving, because that's great, because you're basically telling the universe, hey, I'm like you, I get how this energy exchange works, and I'm giving, and the universe will respond in kind. Oh, let me provide you more opportunities to give. Let me give you more money, more time, more whatever it is, so that you continue to be on this frequency, because you're doing so well, and that's what you're attracting. More of the same. So that's another way to stay sort of magically balanced, okay? But the other thing is reverence to spirit. Give reverence to spirit right now. I do not worship any spirits. I don't worship ancestors. I do, honor, provide offerings, and give reverence. They're an integral part of my life, so it's not a worship type relationship, okay? Any deity of your choice, this is a good time to do so. If you want to contact and work with a different goddess or god right now, this is a perfect time to do that. Something specific to the season, that's great. Make an offering, do all of that sort of type of working right now, because that also keeps you balanced. Let me tell you why. So when we are sort of coming out of ourselves and reaching outward in the spirit realm specifically, At that time, you typically not worrying about how much money you don't have, all the things on your to-do list. You're lonely, you want to be with somebody. You're separating from those desires, those wants right now, and you're just trying to make a connection. And that's good for your personal mental balance, to sort of take the time to separate that. So this is a great time to do rituals. If you already have, you already work with your ancestors, maybe you want to kind of amp up your rituals and do them a little bit more often. A couple more offerings, more than what you normally do. If you do libations, if you're not, go ahead and do that. This is a good time to work on that during this time. Again, it sort of takes you out of your head, takes you out of yourself, so you're focusing on something bigger than yourself, so that eventually, honestly, you'll be rewarded. You'll be blessed with that, because they'll protect you, they'll guide you, they'll help you, because you're giving them reverence. So, I mean, that's not the reason we do it, but that is the side effect of doing so. That's why I'm suggesting to do so, to stay balanced. Now, the other thing is more of a don't. Don't constantly create emergency spell work situations. So let me talk about this a little bit. So again, it's December. So we're now officially in the holiday season, right? This is not a time to do desperate money spells. This is not a time to do desperate love spells. You can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what you can and can't do. I am suggesting very strongly that this is not a good time to do those things. One, you're feeling desperate, especially the love spells. The love spells, this is not a good time, because you're working out of desperation, and you might not like the results that you get doing that type of spell work right now, because you're in a place of desperation, most likely, because you wanted somebody now, and you want to go into the new year with somebody, you want to spend Christmas with somebody, and it didn't happen for you, and you're like, well, you might feel like, oh, not another Christmas, I don't want to do this again by myself. I really want to, be with somebody. I want to be in a relationship. Let's think logically. You do a love spell, an attraction spell. You meet somebody. Let's say you set up a dating app, because hopefully you're actually being active when you do the spell. So you make your dating profile look more, part of your spell is to make you look more desirable, to come across as more desirable, more attractive on your dating profile. Okay, let's say you did that. So you meet somebody. Okay, you meet a couple somebodies. The reality of it is, even if you're meeting somebody, there would be a special circumstance that person might be available to you on Christmas and New Year's. Those are, in the world of dating, those are kind of big holidays, like Valentine's Day. Most likely, they're probably not going to be ready to spend Christmas with you, logically speaking. Like I said, there are circumstances where, of course, maybe you guys are both, they don't know anybody, they just moved to town, they don't have friends or family. That's a perfect opportunity. Hey, spend Christmas with me or my family or me or whatever, or vice versa. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but typically, after a couple weeks of dating, yeah, you probably aren't spending major holidays together just yet. So, logically speaking, you're still not really getting what you really truly desire, which is to have more intimacy at this time of year. So you're still building, and that's too much pressure to put on this new person you're meeting, expecting them to be this totally committed type person for you, just because it's the holidays. No, we're not doing that. This is not a Hallmark movie where we have a fake boyfriend for the holidays. We're not doing that. So maybe chill on that. Now, here's my suggestion, because I'm not just saying don't with no caveats, no suggestions instead. How about we start working the seasons to our benefit? So now is not the time. Typically, winter, we're going into the winter time. This is a time of rest. Your working should be more about ritual, self-care, maybe some plotting, because it's a time of quiet. So this is a good time for you to plot and plan of what you want to do going forward in the other seasons, like that next one, which is going to be spring. And that's when, design your spells for that time. This is the time to do that sort of stuff, to think, to go within. The Hermit in the tarot card, if you will. This is a great, you're the Hermit now. That's where you are. from a spiritual point of view, from a magically speaking point of view, you can do whatever. Listen, sometimes there are things that we have to do, magical workings that require, regardless of the season, the day of the week, it needs to get done. Okay, that's awesome. Hopefully, though, you've prepared. You've energy coded objects back in the spring with that energy to be used now. For me, practicing witchcraft means being proactive. So I have to plan for these things. I have to plan, find certain objects. I don't have a use for it now, but my instinct, my intuition is telling me you're going to need that down the road. It might be a year from now. It doesn't matter. Kind of like this situation with love spells, things like that. Now might not be the best time for that, but I have this object that I've energy coded, with love and the energy of the spring and all that sort of stuff. Bring that in, and that changes the dynamics of the type of workings you're doing, but you would have had to have been prepared back then. So just another reason to kind of work with the Wheel of the Year. As far as money spells, desperate, come on. Whenever you do a money spell, you don't want to be, sometimes you are desperate, I get it. But you have to do some serious alchemy on yourself to get your energy to a point that you're not emitting desperate energy along with the work, because you're going to get unintended results. So we don't want to do that. If you're talking about wanting to have Christmas gifts for, family, friends, kids, whatever, and you're coming up short, of course, if I'm practicing witchcraft, I'm going to want to do a spell. I'm not saying that's not okay. But what I would suggest going forward as a better alternative is, again, magically prepare. So take the spring is still a great time to do that. Maybe the fall, you can work some energies that way. But summer for sure, of just having that energy of, especially, again, spring. Well, no, I would say fall, harvest, reaping. Taking that reaping energy of all that you planted, now you can have it, you can spend it, you can eat it, that type of energy. Yeah, so if I had an object again, or some sort of working I did, I could pull a candle, that I've already worked back in that season, and I can whip that out and bring that out and say, okay, we're doing our working now, here in the winter time. Taking from the essence of the time that I did it, the energy, especially if you had it out in the sun, the object or whatever it is you're doing, you really worked with the elements of the season, during that season, and now we're using it in the winter. That's a great way to maybe do those workings then. Again, you might have unintended results if you're working out of desperation now, because energetically, this is a time of just kind of rest, wait and see type energy. That's where we are right now as we approach winter. Winter doesn't officially start till the 21st. Technically, it is still fall, but I know for some of us who are in places where it's freezing and it's cold, it's very much winter, regardless of what the calendar says. So we're a few weeks shy of winter, but the way the seasons work, they gradually change into another season. So we're gradually changing into the winter season. So just to clear that up. And just a couple more tips that I wanted to give. Take this opportunity to meditate. Take this opportunity to sort of ground yourself. One of the ways you can do that that's very practical is if you go out to work in the morning, before you do anything, get in your car, 5 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever you have. Just take that opportunity and practice your breath work before you move forward throughout your day. If you could do this when you first wake up in the morning, that's even better. But with these, dark mornings, because the sun's not out, if you do this breath work when you first get up, you might fall back to sleep because you're too relaxed. So that's why I say maybe once you're, dressed in the car, gonna go somewhere, put yourself in a vibration of just kind of a neutral, grounded place so that you can receive messages. Like I said, receive messages so that you're open to any sort of spirit contact, ancestors, anything like that. If you are on this buzzed energy and you're just thinking, it's hard to receive messages, to notice signs, symbols, coming your way, because you're really preoccupied with the mundane things in life. So take that opportunity so that you can still stay in that frequency of receiving messages, of understanding, and being protected and guided by your ancestors, or whoever you have reverence to. So that's pretty much most of my tips here about just keeping a magical balance. Hopefully this helps. I actually do this sort of stuff now. I don't have to go somewhere first thing in the morning. I'm stay-at-home wife, so I don't have to do that. But I do practice, honestly, just once I'm up, because again, I'll fall back to sleep too. But I do practice what I preach. I'm somebody who will take I work on my cleansing breaths and my grounding work, and I do all of that sort of stuff. And I'll have a video soon on self-care, magical self-care, or I guess the witch's way of doing self-care, where I'll talk more about grounding and things like that in meditation. So stay tuned for that. But thank you for watching the video. I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you. Happy holidays.